Nick, shut the fuck up. You fucking stupid ass idiot. Okay, guys, my name is Richard Sanchez. I love to speak in formal, formatable videos, poetry, third party, longevity, adequacy, diabolically, violently, horrifically, prolifically. I stutter a little bit when I get a little bit nervous with these big ass words I'm throwing out there. The bigger the word, the bigger the believability. Hitler was an evil necessary force that caused a major turnover in finances, bankruptcies, and made our nation the nation it is today. A feared top dog relationship with the rest of the world we have because we can conquer and destroy and divide. And in World War III, United States, alongside with its co-partners Jerusalem, Judah, the heartbeat of a lion, the old demonic noises that I used to do that you talked about in court, my demonic music. Oh, that shows some type of spiritual belief to actually be able to say something like that, no? But I'll just stay quiet. So, that's poetry in of itself. My name is Richard Santos Sanchez. I was born July 24th, 1998. I live in a city that I don't want to disclose, nor do I have to disclose. I used to run a mechanic business. Prior to that, I was a dental assistant. I worked at Showdown Dentistry. I worked at Dr. Hart's. Also, I worked at Jack in the Box prior to that. That was my first job. I went to the Door Christian Fellowship in Yucca Valley for many years. Pastor Lobato from that church was a father figure to me. And still to this day, I admire the dude. And I would never do anything to hurt the guy. Nor would I even want to pursue a relationship with him at this point just because of legality issues and the potential of getting arrested. To the rest of the churches, I will freely, as pleased, reach out to you guys with text messages, calls. If anybody gets calls that shouldn't be getting calls from me, or texts that shouldn't be getting texts from me, from other numbers outside of this number, 310-387-5019, block that number. Report that number and do what you got to do with it. I don't own any phone that isn't shared outside of this one. My probation officer in Joshua Tree, California, has my social media passwords, my social medias, my YouTube, my phone password, and I'm going to figure out how to send him the coordinates to my phone so that way, just in case if ever he needs to, look it up. But preferably, I think for my safety and well-being, outside of my emotional response and my emotional regulations and restitutions I feel I owe to people, wisdom speaks louder volumes than emotions. And so I think it would be more adequately for me to be placed into placement homes, potentially with GPS monitored around my ankle. And I'm willing to agree to those terms and conditions solely at the fact that if I decide to truly compete into cage fighting, boxing is not an obligating factor, but cage fighting is solely at the fact that I need my knees, my ankles, my shins, my fist, and everything. So, for two reasons, I am reluctant to decide to put a GPS on my ankle, not because I don't want or lack accountability, but more so that if I want to be a cage fighter, I have to practice being kicked in my shins, grappling, and a big box attached to my leg would very much um, prolong that period and detonate that period. You know, detonate as in the fact that it can possibly shoot me into my future and my fullest potential by keeping more so a closer eye on me by the California State Department of Investigation, Department, ICE, Federal Bureau of Investigation, ATF, Cathedral City, Palm Springs, Desert Hot Springs, Compton, Long Beach, Norwalk, Palm Desert Police Department. My longevity of police phone calls also is an adequate accountability to my truth. So I am freely willing to put an ankle monitor on my ankle and will give up my aspirations for kickboxing, Muay Thai, and cage fighting MMA, and my desire to learn Sambo wrestling, which is a Russian fighting style, but before that it was a Dagestani. Dagestani used to be an independent nation out of Russia. Russia noticed the potential in Dagestani and conquered it solely at the fact that it can raise up fighters. So when I say drugs like steroids and methamphetamine and amphetamines, like for instance, Wellbutrin, it's the only FDA approved bath salt that hyperdrive the dopamine receptors, subsequently dropping the serotonin receptors to a baseline point that is unmanageable unless you have the subsequent amounts of dopamine receptor responses. But homeostasis calls for a baseline. So, as an opportunist, I play the part of every role I can play because I know the part of every role that I've ever played. Enough to know how to play it, to become it, and be it without actually having to be it. I wish I could pretend to be a tweaker, but my physique, my elegancy, and my speech, the way I turn my eyes to the left, indicating possibly I'm lying. The ways that my pupils in and out dilate when I stare at a light takes about 3 to 6 seconds for pupils to pupillate and dilate. Hmm, funky, right? Funky, right? Maybe I'm high as fuck. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm drunk. Maybe I smoke weed. Maybe I defend the fact that I'm not on meth so much because I am. Maybe if I ever got caught high on meth, my PO would lose all respect because of my lack of integrity. To just say the fucking basic truth that I'm high on meth. Maybe I'm not. Truth be told is this. It takes a couple of red flags to revoke probation. And ultimately it's up to the judge. 180 days, 190 days, or 10 days is usually what they give to people. The PO usually indicates and decides when this person gets released. Okay, I think he's learned his lesson. Let him go after 3 days, 6 days, 5 days, 10 days. Judge, we show good favor that we should hold Mr. Sanchez for the maximum of 190-day flash, with the possibility of re-eligibility for his probation to start the timeline over at 2 years. Granted. So, Mr. Guzman, with all due respect, there is me speaking without the third party bullshit, propaganda, bullshit, all stupid and shit. Annoying as fuck, I know. Man to man, I'm annoying as fuck and all do hell. But there's some clips and some text messages that I sent that are kind of funny, dude. It's fucking hilarious. And my big old chubby cheeks, dog. And my musculars that aren't all juiced up and pumped up because I haven't hit the weights today because I've been kind of kicking back. Don't scream out, tweaker. Neither does my speech. I was fucking so nervous the first day I met you. I made a promise to my dad. I said, Dad, I'm not in jail for fucking a year of my life fighting this case because I'm high, because I got high. Getting high is a basic misdemeanor until you have about 3 of them. Then it could potentially be 1 year in jail. It could be a felony, just like petty theft. LA County doesn't give a fuck about none of that. That's why I don't want my probation realistically to be down here, because it's so much more easier for me to just be a jackass if I had the intentions to be a jackass. So, knowing these type of things, Mr. Guzman, I think you get a clear understanding and picture of just who you're dealing with and who you're talking to. And I don't say that with any kind of threats or backbites, or any hidden motive behind that outside of just pure, sheer honesty. The first day I got out of county jail, I'm not gonna lie, dude, I got high as stupid as hell, you know? And it was methamphetamine that I got high off of. With some random guy that was getting released. We walked down the street, I found some tweaker. But it was solely at the fact that I promised my dad I would. And I also promised him I would slam meth as soon as I get out. To say, fuck you, bitch. How in the fuck are you gonna undergo watching me fight fucking multiple felony charges that I beat? How in the fuck is a 245 assault with a firearm reduced to a misdemeanor? Conflicting dispositions in my discovery that I skimmed through for fucking a year. Penal codes, motions, fear of a Marsden law being imposed on Steven Sedocha because it would disrupt his impeccable trial and reputation. My left eye is a little weird right now, ain't it? It would destroy his fucking impeccable fucking record. So he went to the backdrop in the back burner with the fucking judge and said, okay, we can bypass the fucking DA and get you a better deal than a strike with 2 years in prison, and then come out and get another strike and then become a two-striker. With any wrong movement you make, you can be liable for 25 to life in prison. At the smallest word of a fucking poetry, you can be given a criminal threat, which is a strikeable offense if found guilty in the court of law under the oath of fucking felony. If it's reduced to a misdemeanor, it is not a fucking strikeable offense. So, Mr. Sanchez, we got you 3 years in custody in jail. No strikes, no probation, no tell. I don't like that deal either. You ready to go to trial? Well, Mr. Sanchez, if you go to trial and you win, what you knew I would win, fucking punk ass bitch, Steven Sedocha, that I would still be held liable for the vandalism I did in Riverside County Jail when I was in 16 mental health housing and I popped a fucking sprinkler because this fucking dirtbag kept shitting in the toilet that wouldn't flush. You sat there in the courtroom just as long as the record's being straight. So did the therapist the day that fucking it happened. You and the therapist both laughed. Because, motherfucker, I had a sheet wrapped around my fucking face, towels, and slapping the fucking camera. Boom, 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 pushing the button. Get me the fuck out of here. I'm going to beat this nigga's ass. And the cop says, do it. I tallied on the wall 26 times that I pushed that button, asking me to get the fuck out of that cell. The day prior, I flooded the whole tier out by repeatedly flushing the toilet. Then they turned off the water. And I said, motherfucker, the guy over next cell to me in 49 is telling me that I can pop the sprinkler. And so when the cameras that were in the cell to monitor me, that weren't fucking monitoring me, neither was that button that I pushed hundreds of times over and over again throughout the entire day. The weeks following up to that point would have been enough evidence to adequately state, you fucking retards in Riverside County Jail and custody centers neglected my mental health, abused me physically, mentally, spiritually, hurt me, arrested me without cause, without proper formation of truth or adequacy in any statements. You guys dislocated my shoulder, handcuffed me. While I'm handcuffed, repeatedly shoved my head into the fucking counter, into the fucking glass, into the door, trapped me, handcuffed, in a fucking cold ass fucking playground. I flipped the handcuffs to the front. You guys mock me and tell me flip them back or we're not going to let you out of the cold. I sat there for 2 fucking hours, Deputy Morales, with you and your corporal, who, on audio and on video, inside of the program room in 12, which is considerably mental health housing, with weak politics, threatened to put me in 15, knowing that the politics right there would kill someone like me if I was truly crazy. You see my face change, don't you? I do too. I take a picture? No, I don't take pictures. I don't know what the fuck is happening, but I'm unfazed by it. It's my spiritual gift. I have the names, the grievances, and the documentations to the lieutenants, to the captains, to the forced captains and sergeants to actually be able to push my propaganda up to the state captains by repeatedly writing the same grievance on the top, marking it very clearly for lieutenant review, for captain review, for U.S. State General review would have been the next step. Look at my left eye, dog. The Lion of Judah, dog. It's a lot of things, dog. So Deputy Guzman. On my Obama phone, it'd be very hard to fucking do something like that. 19 minutes and 33 seconds.